Right, so Kirsty, could you tell me a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do, and who you represent?
Okay, well, I'm Kirsty Williams. I'm the Assembly Member for the constituency of Brecon and Radnorshire. I live in Brecon with my husband on his family's farm. I've got three daughters, aged 9, 7 and 5. And my day job is, as I said, the Assembly Member, which means I represent the people of Brecon and Radnorshire at the National Assembly for Wales, making decisions on laws that affect the people of Wales, and also making decisions on the amount of money we spend on public services. These days, following the referendum last year, the Assembly is in charge of things such as health, education, the economy, environment. So all the day-to-day issues that really matter to local people, I'm there to represent them at the National Assembly.
And what about your relationship, your working relationship with Roger Williams? How does that all connect in?
Well, Roger and I share an office here in Brecon, and Roger is predominantly concerned with issues that are not devolved to the National Assembly. So, for instance, welfare issues, foreign policy, Home Office issues. But of course, what we do both share is a love of Brecon and Radnor, and love of getting out into communities and listening to people and trying to help them with their individual problems and concerns.
And what about the Powys County Council? Where do you fit in there, and how do you and what's your influence there?
Well, sometimes people think that Powys County Council has to do what the MP or the Assembly Member tells them to do. Unfortunately, it's not quite like that. The Powys County Council are an independent body in their own right. But obviously, a lot of the issues that people bring to Roger and myself are in the remit of the County Council. And we often spend a great deal of time trying to lobby and persuade and to represent people's views to Powys County Council, especially if local people think that the council aren't listening to them. So a great deal of our time is spent working in conjunction with Powys County Council, trying to help sort people's individual problems out and helping local people get their voices heard.
No doubt you've heard about what's happening in Hay-on-Wye. Bit of a hot topic at the moment with a supermarket development proposing to come into Hay. A couple of questions. One is how can the people of Hay be heard better? One of the complaints out of all of this is that Hay feels as though they haven't been consulted properly on this. How do people get to be heard better so this kind of protest conflict doesn't happen?
Well, I think we are at a really important time for the community of Hay-on-Wye. A decision about a supermarket will have huge ramifications, and so we really need to be very cautious and to really think hard about what kind of place we want Hay-on-Wye to be. And I think people are right to be concerned that they haven't had their opportunity to have their say and to really find out what the council has planned for them. You'll be aware that recently there was a meeting just before Christmas, and the point I made to the members of Powys County Council that were there at that meeting is if Powys County Council are convinced that this is the right way forward for Hay, then they really should have the courage of their convictions, and they should be going out and asking local people what they think, rather than trying to hide behind the doors of County Hall. I think what's really important before any decision is made that will affect the future of Hay forever, we really need to get to the bottom of what local people really think and what their hopes and aspirations are for their towns. I think the only way to do that is for the council to really go the extra mile and really begin to open up its processes and take the time and the trouble to go out to talk to local people. And there are lots of mechanisms in which they can do that. They can have public meetings, but we know that for some people the public meeting is not the kind of place where they want to express their view. They don't feel comfortable doing that. So to accommodate that, we need smaller consultation meetings. We need proper resident surveys and a safe space for people to be able to speak freely and confidently about what they want for their town. And if Powys really thinks that a supermarket development is the best thing for Hay. As I said, I think they should have their courage of their convictions and they should go out and say so. But what's really important is that we think very carefully, those people that live in Hay-on-Wye and those people that will be responsible for ultimately making this decision about what kind of town we want Hay to be, what kind of society we want to live in, because this decision will affect Hay for decades and decades to come.
A lot of people have moved to Hay specifically because it has a uniqueness about it, and the fact that it has loads of independent shops, which is rarely seen. They were actually trying to get away from the supermarkets, and the supermarkets are now chasing after them. What is your own view of supermarkets coming into towns? Because they've done a lot of that in Powys, in Welshpool, Machynlleth, is that right? Newtown, Llandod, and now they're coming into Hay. Does anybody actually win the battle with supermarkets?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. Hay is a unique place. Many of the other Assembly members that I work with at the Assembly are very jealous for me to have Hay in my constituency, and it's a place I think we can all be justifiably proud of. And one of the reasons for that is, as you say, it's unique. When you're there, you get a unique sense of place, something that can't be replicated anywhere else. When you look around, it's not like being in a mall scenario where that means you could be, anywhere in the UK. It is very special, and therefore that's one of the reasons why we have to be really careful about proceeding down this route, because it's inevitable that a supermarket will have an effect on the kind of place that Hay-on-Wye is. Now, for some communities, I think supermarket developments have been welcomed, and they can, in some cases, bring benefits to a town, and there can be positives. But we have to get it right for each individual community. And just because a supermarket can be of benefit in one location, it doesn't mean it's going to be of the same benefit in another location. And that's why we've got to be really clear. And as tempting as it is to think that as a result of the supermarket coming into Hay, we might achieve other things that people in Hay really, really want, we really have to be careful and weighed up the arguments and are sure that that's a price worth paying. Can supermarkets be stopped? Yes, I think they can, although I myself would have concerns about the current legislation and the planning laws that I think perhaps do not protect our individual high streets as much as they could. And we really need to make sure that Welsh Government and Westminster governments are doing all that they can to protect unique high streets and unique places like we've got in Hay-on-Wye, because once they're lost, it's very, very difficult to get that uniqueness back.
And what do you think of Plan B there in Hay? Obviously you know about Plan B, and they're putting some proposals forward to the County Council in terms of some of the alternatives, because this is all about a supermarket coming in to buy a much needed school in Hay. Plan B are looking at the alternatives. What do you think about them and what they're doing?
I think Plan B is fantastic, because we do need to make sure we've explored all the opportunities, and rather than thinking and assuming there is only one way to achieve what we want in Hay-on-Wye. And I commend the work of Plan B and the individuals that are really striving to present an alternative model of what life in Hay-on-Wye may be for the next 10 to 20 years. And I really hope that Powys County Council will be as good as their word in the commitments that I heard them make in December, that with Plan B coming forward with alternative plans, they will seriously consider what local people are proposing as an alternative. And I think it's really useful to have alternative perspectives, different solutions to achieving what we all want, which is ultimately a thriving town, a sustainable place to live with the facilities that we all want our children and local people to have. But there are different ways of achieving that, and Plan B are galvanising those alternative ideas, and I hope Powys County Council will be as good as their word and will consider them seriously as an alternative way forward.
That's great. Thank you very much.